Well,
Hi, Momo.
it's 8 sharp here in Kuwait, 7 p.m.
Okay.
in Egypt.
Hi, Miss Fatma.
How are you?
Good, good. How are you?
I miss you so much.
Same.
Hi, Dana. I miss you guys. I'm happy you're joining the talk.
I miss you too, Miss Fatma, very much.
Well, as we were saying, it's time. It's 8 and
Okay, so
p.m. in Cairo. So welcome everyone. Welcome Fatma Abodoma, and thanks so much for sharing the time to partake this public conversation with me and the center. My name is Claudio Cravero, and as a curator of the Fine Arts Center, the Sheikh Abdullah Salman Cultural Center, I am more than glad to moderate the second talk of the second season of the Virtual Artist Talk series. Since we launched the Artist Talk series, the spotlight has been and still is on previous and current artists part of AIR, the Artist in Residency program, the Sheikh Abdullah Salman Cultural Center that Fatma partook with us in 2019. With Fatma Abodoma, we are going to discuss her journey from the residency program in Kuwait to her move to Egypt, and where she took part in a new residency program at Ruznama in Cairo, more specifically. As well as we're going to talk about her artistic practice and how mental disorders can represent a source of inspiration in her art making. And oh wow, it seems to be very promising, very inspiring so far. Before introducing Fatma and passing the mic on to her, just a quick reminder about the talk and the structure of this conversation. As we know, it will last approximately 40-45 minutes, while the first 30 minutes will be seeing Fatma and myself in conversation. The last 10 minutes will be dedicated to your question. So please use the chat to send your questions directly to the main chat so everybody can read the questions. Or if you are not shy, you can unmute yourself during the Q&A. Short bio about Fatma Abodoma. She was born in Egypt in 1984. She graduated in applied arts in Cairo in 2007, and she lived for 9 years in Kuwait, more precisely since 2011, before moving to Egypt in 2019. Fatma's research explores themes such as memory and mental disorders while employing drawing, cyanotype printing techniques, and video making to create images and tell stories that investigates our human nature. Fatma, could you guide us through your journey from Kuwait to Egypt, telling a tiny bit more about this transition that and what has changed within your artistic practice, namely from the art program in 2019 at the center to move to your native country, and which significant steps did you get through? Thank you.
Thank you, Claudio. Thank you for the great presentation. I will start with my residency at the center, the AIR program, and it was actually during my last 4 months in Kuwait. So it was during moving out and packing, and that was a great challenge, but it was as well a very good closure for 9 years that I lived in Kuwait. I was very lucky to attend a Cyanotype workshop there, and before that I didn't have any idea about this kind of techniques, and I fall in love with the technique, so that added a lot to me actually. And doing an art residency while moving out, and it really made moving out fast easier. Spending some time at the studio practicing art there, it made it easier for me, because it was such a painful experience to leave home, because I loved my home so much at that time. Anyway, the transition to Cairo, there is a great difference in the lifestyle in Kuwait and lifestyle in Cairo. In Kuwait, it helps you to be an introvert. Everything takes time. There is a slow pace, I would say peaceful, kind of peaceful, and it was totally the opposite in Cairo. And when I came back, I thought that I've lived here before, so it's going to be easy, but it was not. The life pace was so fast. Cairo drags you and forces you to be an extrovert. There is a lot of things that I want to do. There are a lot of friends, a lot of family members, a lot of friends, a lot of events that I want to go to. And I even joined the residency here. And while unpacking and getting used to a totally new lifestyle, so it was so overwhelming and it drained my energy in a way. And during this trip of transition, there was still that pain of missing the house, and this of missing the house in Kuwait and the friends that I loved there. But I needed to get this out. I needed to express it. So I started to paint some corners of my house there, because it was my first house. After moving out from my parents' house, when I first got married, I moved there, and me and my husband built this house together. So it was very special to me, and it was hard to feel that it's not going to be there anymore. So I started to work on some paintings, and then I met my friend Agnes, and I talked about that. And at the same time, she was working on documenting the spaces that women create for themselves in the streets of Cairo, like women who are selling stuff in the subway, or women who are sitting on the sidewalks or on coffee shops. The very intimate spaces that women create for themselves, but outside. And me, I was expressing also through paintings and installation the space that I created for myself. So we came out with the concept of parallel spaces, and we approached the gallery, Arcade Gallery in Cairo, and they loved the idea, and we started to work on that. I will share some of the photos from the opening, and also some of the paintings. Oh yeah, you can see it here. I will. So this is me and Agnes during the opening. Yeah, here is also during the opening with the crowd. Her work is black and white. My work is colorful. So this is one of the painting for a corner in the house with my cats. It was a studio space. And that's my cat, Soli, who joined me through my trip from Cairo to Kuwait, and from Kuwait to Cairo, but unfortunately he passed away after a month after we moved. This is an installation, and it has actual parts of the house from the house in Kuwait, and also the photos hanging there are for my friends. The drawing at the back is for the couch and the carpet. Also a corner in the house, and written around notes taken from my journal for my feelings and emotions during that time. Also my calendar, the last dinners I did in the house, the packing schedule, everything. And I wanted also that whoever cannot be physically there, to be there in any kind of form. So I did this installation, and I did a lot of scrapbooks. A scrapbook for my feral friends, the cat who lived around the house, a scrapbook for my walks with Blue, my dog, around the building, for a scrapbook for my friends and people who had a great influence on me in Kuwait. I made like a 22 scrapbook. So if the audience can come, can sit on that chair, can go through those scrapbooks. I'll show you some of, I show you a video that for three of the scrapbooks. I hope you enjoy it. Yeah. This was for my cat, Soli. He has been my partner through the whole journey. And this is about a studio space. It's very small scrapbooks,
that with some notes written and some photos. And I remember people liked this corner the most. I got my feelings exposed. This was for my feral friends who made my doorstep a home for them. And even those papers are collected from, were collected from Kuwait as well, that I used for this project.
That's very interesting. Thank you. And it's surprising because you were describing the move from Kuwait to Cairo with a very powerful description, saying that Kuwait was very much introvert and then very much intimate and everything kind of private, and then moving to Kuwait, to Cairo, to Egypt, you opened it up to being extrovert and then trying to find a community, friends, events, etc. But still, when you came to describe yourself with your personal space, it went back to that kind of intimacy and privacy that you somehow lost when you moved from Kuwait. It's also true that is mostly said by psychologists, a move is one of the most stressful events in one's lifetime. So that
it is, I can tell.
So you undertook a new residency program as soon as you moved to Egypt, at Rusnama, this place in Cairo, from April to November 2018. How you ended up knowing about this place and applying for it, and also which kind of residency program is Rusnama and how it differs from year program that we have here at the center? Would you have, by any chance, any snapshots of the space and then what you engaged when you moved to that studio?
I knew about the residency through a friend, and I applied and I had an interview with the curators of the residency and I got accepted. I was excited because it was a great chance to reintroduce me to the art scene, because the art scene have changed a lot during those 9 years. For the residency itself, it's research-based kind of residency, so they show us some research process and how to use that in art, how to channel that in our artwork. We had workshops, we had talks, we had discussions from different creative fields, photographers, curators, filmmakers. We even had discussions for syndicates and also organizations that preserve artist rights, and yeah, it was very helpful for the development of my art and also for networking. And although it was challenging because I was also unpacking my stuff, because I packed everything from the house there and I had to unpack it. I would tell the difference at with AIR program at the center in Kuwait. It was a huge space and very fancy and in a museum. And it was not easy to have a lot of people there, so I had some time for myself. So I worked also on the same project on both, but they took totally different perspectives, because the place had a great influence in me. And at the center in Kuwait, I had a lot of self-time. So I took Not a Disorder art project from a very personal perspective. But in Rusnama, it's an apartment in a very crowded area. I can show you the area of, I'm sure if you visited Egypt, you would notice this. It's a very busy street, and there were like all the time, I was sharing the apartment with 10 other artists, and we always had talks and people visiting and workshops. So it included a lot of people. So I took the same art project, but from a very different perspective. It's not more about me. it's about others. I want to express how others feels about that. I want to express others' experiences. So that was the difference. A different place can have a great influence on you, and both are good in a way. That's my desk there. It was a very simple desk in a very old building in Cairo, in downtown.
Yes, I can see totally the difference between the two spaces. And then it reflects another time what you said in the beginning, this self-introspection that you had in Kuwait, very introvert as the country you described to be, and then Cairo being completely lively and always packed and crammed with people coming over for talks, discussions, etc. Since you were talking about this community-oriented approach, also within your art practice that you've been developing since you moved to Cairo, I want to show an image that you shared with me before that is very much interesting because it reflects what happened during the lockdown. So how you face this terrible, unprecedented time in Cairo. So this is an art bulletin where you and your partner Agnes got published, and you got the limelight during the lockdown because you undertook a new community research-based project with other artists around your community in Cairo. Would you describe how you started, why that came out of need, and what that consisted of?
At the beginning of the lockdown, because it was kind of a surprise to everyone that, hey, we're in lockdown. It started with a store. Everything was closed because of the storm, and then it never opened again. And then, yeah, we're in a lockdown for about 4 months. So at the beginning, it was really hard. And I had, and I think, yeah, my friends around me who are creatives as well, they had this kind of block that we don't know what to do. We don't know when this is happening. We're not inspired. But after like a while, a lot of photographers started documenting what is happening. Like Roger Anis documented, he went even to the quarantine hospital to document the patients, the doctor, the nurses, although it was dangerous because he could have caught the virus. Also, Rania did public documentation for public transport, for the places that used to be very crowded. So somehow this gave us a kind of hope, or we did fear. The fear is less now. And there were also a lot of talks, workshops, online concerts, online exhibitions that I joined 2 of them. So, and then my friend, again, Agnes as well, she thought of an idea that she told me, why we don't create, you come up with a list and I come up with a list, and then we start an art exchange. And that was, and then we, an online art exchange, and we post our art every other day. So this really, after doing that, a flow of creativity flashed out of my mind. So this is my list: pomegranates, whales, fairies, reality, dreams, tea, time, motion. It's just words that would give us a kind of inspiration. This is the list that Agnes came up with. And then, yeah, that is pomegranates drawing of mine. That is the metro. House, river, self-portrait, wings, cat, and we got then published in, this is whales, tea. We then got published in Cairo COVID magazine, which magazine that started at that time. So they knew about our art exchange and they did publish it. So again, I work with colors, and Agnes black and white. So it's a very nice contrast. I love this this kind of collaboration. I joined 2 exhibitions, and having an online exhibition during that time was very important, because a lot of professional artists here do art for a living. So it was very important to do such a thing during the lockdown. Also, one of those 2 exhibitions were for a cause to help the families who were affected financially because of the lockdown.
Oh, that's very ravishing in the sense that we faced last time with Mahmoud Shakir, how art can somehow be a tool to increase awareness, but not only the fact that you were collecting money to help families that were suffering from COVID-19 or that they're going somehow impacted by this pandemic. Now, I would like to get more into details into your practice. You said in the beginning you found out when you were in Kuwait this new technique for you, because it's not new at all, it's very much traditional, which is the Cyanotype. You decided to recollect this ancient or traditional technique that was used in the beginning as a first experimentation of photo printing, and but you also incorporated some pieces of natural elements and objects on it. Would you explain to us briefly why this fascination of yours for this, let's say, timeless technique and how it works, and when you learned how to do it, and eventually to show us some works of art that you realized with this particular technique?
Cyanotypes, the cyanotype technique is one of the oldest printing techniques and the cheapest as well. It produces blueprints, as you can see, and you need to coat the paper or any kind of surface with iron salts that react with the UV light. Then place an object or a negative over the surface, which in my case is a paper, and then wash your print. So whatever was covered from sunlight will have a very light shade of blue, and whatever did react with the UV light will be a dark blue. And here are some of my artworks that I did using this technique that I fall in love with. And I first knew about it during the workshop at the center in the AIR program.
Okay, and you have a work that is specifically dedicated to a subject that came out during the lockdown because you were observing outside of your window, which is a sort of prelude of a workshop that we're going to leave tomorrow with Mishari and Najara, our current artist in residence, that is actually just looking out from your window of what's going on, and then to reinvent stories. And somehow you were captivated by a story related to a tree that we're going to share now.
One day, I woke up and heard some weird noise in the street, and at that time it was during spring, or at the end of the spring, at the beginning of the summer, and the trees were so beautiful and full of red flowers, and that was easy to notice because of quarantine. So my outing was the balcony, and it was so beautiful to wake up and have a cup of tea watching those lovely trees from up. When I woke up to this weird noise, I recognized that unfortunately they are cutting the trees. They think that what they are doing is just a way to protect the tree from falling down, but it's not the right time to cut the trees. So that they should have waited till the end of winter before the tree starts to grow leaves again and flowers. It was very sad and painful, so I did decide that I will go down told to them that it was useless. So what I did was just to collect some parts of those trees, because during the 4 months of the lockdown, you were adding a lot of joy to my life, and I felt that it's so unfair. Got them in their prime. So I collected some pieces, and at that time I didn't know what I'm going to do with them. Then after a while, I thought I want the memory of those trees to be there. I want to tell those stories, and I want to do something with those parts that I did collect. So I started doing those cyanotypes. Cyanotypes are mixed to kind of chemicals, and it's one of the oldest ways of printing. So I use those parts of the trees to do my cyanotypes, to keep their memory forever as far as we know.
That's very delicate. It's pure poetry. And then this is not the first time that you decided to encapsulate, to incorporate your own story behind the work that you've been doing in this way. So using a sketchbook, a scrapbook, and then recollecting and retell that story another time with your own version. That's really mesmerizing. Thank you for sharing this. And then we're going to, it recurs like a current practice of yours to encapsulate in that way. And then it's interesting that the cyanotype, obviously we saw it, goes with the color blue, which is the final shade that gets in your final work. And somehow blue is the color of memory. You mentioned before how essential and sort of career changing an air program can be for an artist, because it offers the artist the time frame, the space to think for a mid-long-term project and develop some of the steps during the residency while receiving support and the exchange. When you got selected as an artist in residency at Ruznama in Cairo, you submitted a project-based proposal on a research based on mental disorders, which ended up at the end in a 3-channel video installation. Before getting to know a little bit more about Not a Disorder, the title of your video installation, could you explain to us why you have this interest that is very private, very intimate in these subjects, so the mental disorder?
It started when I joined AIR program. It was the art project that I applied with to the AIR program, and it was very personal at that time because my aunt went through Alzheimer, and my friend also had an experience of bipolar and hallucination. So I was thinking, I felt that they are totally in a very different world. That they are connecting to things that we cannot see or that I cannot see. And my world is not real for them, and their world is not real for me. So as if they are two different worlds, but looking in a mirror. Then I thought, who decides what is an order and what is a disorder? What is reality and what is not? Because the feelings, the emotions, everything they went through was so real. Then I thought maybe each of us has his or her own world, and there is no disorder. They are just a variety of orders. And then because my friend, who was an artist as well, during those phases that she went through, she was doing a lot of artwork. It was very easy for her to create. Then comes the question, does a mental issue helps you to be creative? Which I'm still researching up till now. And then I knew about Yayoi Kusama, who is a Japanese artist who ran away from her family in Japan and went all the way to the States to do art. And she created marvelous art installation where she shows how she sees the world around her. She sees the world around her full of patterns. So if she look at her hands will be full of patterns. So she wanted to show the people the world as she see it, her world that is very real for her. Then when I joined Roznama, so at Air program, it was very personal. It was about my own experience. But when I joined Roznama and with the research based kind of thing that was going on there, I dig deeper through history. And I read about female hysteria. I don't know if you've heard about it or not. But hysteria was, women were diagnosed by hysteria up till the 50s. And it was, imagine, it was very, the symptoms were shortness of breath, loss of appetite, fluid retention, and they were forced to enter an insane asylum or to go through a surgical hysterectomy because they saw that the womb is the cause. And this was practiced till the 50s. And for us now, a loss of appetite is something that is normal, that we can understand, that we can cope with. But at that time, it was not. So maybe in the future, it will be the same. People need to be more aware of what a bipolar is, what depression is, and understand it, because this helps whoever go through it to be able to be in the society. It will make their life much easier. Those are photos from a hospital in France for the patients there. They were chained to the ground. Women were tortured for just a very simple symptoms that are normal nowadays. Yeah, after that, I thought of doing an open call for the female creative artists around. And that was for my residency in Roznama. So that was the open call. If you are a female artist and have experienced anything concerned with mental health, also would like to be a part of an art project, please let me know. And I got a lot of replies. And then who wanted to participate, I did reply back with a list of questions, which you can see on the screen. And I asked them to send me the answers on a voice note. I wanted them to take time with themselves, to be telling their story to themselves, so it will be easier to express more emotions. And that's what happened. And from their notes, from the voice note that they did send to me, I created a sketchbook of drawings. Anyway, I can't find it, so no, it's here. Yeah. I wrote.
Before getting to the sketchbook, if you don't mind, I was so surprised and mesmerized at the same time by the question that you were asking to those women that decided to contribute to your project. There was one question in particular that was saying, if there is a way for you to describe what you feel besides the medical diagnosis, what the name would be. What kind of replies did you receive on that question?
the kind of replies that I received from some of them. For example, Sama, she told me that her depression made it really hard for her to create, but her anxiety gave her a lot to write about. So some of the experiences helped her to create, and some others didn't. Also, another one, she dancing made her really feel calm and can deal with whatever the experience she can go through. Another told me that she faced a lot of difficulties in her work because of that, and she even tried to commit suicide, but she is she's trying to cope with it. And yeah, so those were the highlights that I can remember right now. So I'll show the.
You see the sketchbook.
It was all inspired from their stories. Also, I created a scrapbook that will have a lot of words from the voice messages that they sent. So let's see it. And also the way that you should like open the layers, because they are sharing a very intimate thing. They are sharing their own secrets. So
wow, again, it's a captivating, ravishing way how to incorporate one story within your own story and re-unfold it in your own way. It's very intimate, it's very private. This final scrapbook reminds me of the Chinese boxes. You know, there are different boxes within boxes, and it's like kind of a secret because it's the privacy and the intimacy also of those women that thankfully and awfully gave you their own voices. That's very enticing. And then you realize at the end, the video installation, it took you like 6 months to get done because it's a 3-channel video installation. It's immersive, so there are 3 main screens, and we're going to show only the central one, which was the topical.
Shall I show first a photo of the video? Yeah, I have some photos. So before sharing the video, I have some photos for just few from the installation. It was, yeah, so this is Sumaya, she's one of the girls. And it was in a room and the screens were projected. There were 3 screens projected on the 3 walls. So you're, as if you're entering inside the brain. So that was the aim from the installation. So we can show the central video right now. Yeah.
It's really interesting, this approach, saying that you wanted to create this entrance into this private domain, which is the brain, the woman's intellect and mind in their own way, how to cope with their own disorder. Although you were saying that the title is not a disorder, because it's now we're talking about something that is out of order. It's simply a different way to hold an order for that.
It's a different kind of order, yeah.
So this is the central video that you showed in the 3-channel videos.
Yes, and the audio is the.
وقت ما كنت في إعدادي في المدرسة يعني كان عندي مشكلة عامة مع أي حد بيمشي ويسيبني. كنت بغير أماكن كتير، كنت قاعدة بمسوية وبعدين قعدت سنة في مكان بعدين غيرنا مكان، فدايما صحابي متغيرين. And I like to create stuff around the house or stuff that I wear. So I'm a product designer of some sort. I do a little bit of music. Play a little bit of like ukulele and sing a little. I've been documenting my emotions ever since I was, let's say, 20. Started getting كبيرة. بس الشيء اللي ابتدى يبقى واضح يعني إن أي علاقة بتنتهي يعني حتى علاقة صداقة بيبقى تأثيرها النفسي جامد يعني لدرجة ممكن تؤدي انتحار يعني. I tried to suicide twice. لما كنت في المدرسة كنت I was hurting myself. To feel pain external despite feeling يعني. Started getting therapeutic, as I like to call it, by the age of 14. I fell in love with poetry in 8th grade, and I didn't think it was possible that I could make it. And then I was introduced to spoken word poetry. I founded a group of people that are now different, but from what I founded, but they've been going on with. وبعدين I lost جده الله يرحمه يعني في تالتة ثانوي and I started. قعدت فترة طويلة يعني مش قادرة أقتنع إن هو مشي ومش عارف ايه إن هو مبقاش موجود، وقعدت مثلا 4-5 سنين متأثرة بموته يعني. وده بالشكل. فالعلاقات دايما كان بيبقى فيها تعلق بشخصية.
Well, I have very little to say about the creative field since my anxiety and depression actually prevent me from going and exploring and actually being a part of this field. I always have self-esteem issues. I don't believe in my work that much. I don't believe that people would understand what I do. I don't believe that it's worth spreading and sharing and like doing it professionally, or even putting it out there for people to criticize or judge or discuss or even love.
I've always been dancing. Always, like ever since I was a child, like a very small child. Ever since I was a toddler, I've been dancing. The memories I have remained from my childhood were of me on the bed learning new moves يعني كان رقص شرقي. And I grew up شوية and I was watching all these video clips of these hip-hop.
So that's that. Actually, my big difficulty is that I cannot get myself to be in the creative field or to start how do we say it? Belonging to it.
Thank you, Fatma. That was
Yeah.
compelling, and I think that is visible how much work you put behind it. You were saying 6 months, but it's really worth the hard work that you did. There is an amazing intricacy between natural elements mixed with patterns. There are either urban patterns where you can find on the pavement or the cobblestones of a road, but also the nets that you can find in some gardens. And those little details that are all connected, all intertwined, reminds me a lot of the nets of neurons in the brain. Is really welcoming into that uncharted and mysterious territory. So congratulations on this great achievement. I think that so far as being like a crescendo from the personal space that you described in the beginning, just moving from Kuwait to Egypt to this masterpiece of yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Anything else that you would like to add to this, let's say, overwhelming, committing, dedicating project of yourself?
I would like to thank you for this opportunity. I would like to note as well that working on this project is still going on, and I would love to thank Sama and Sumaya and Sulaima, who did participate and made this video installation come to life. And thank you for so much for I really enjoyed the talk. I enjoyed preparing for it. I enjoyed everything about it, really, and thanks for your help as well in doing that.
So was I. It was really awesome to get to know you, also because we were not in touch when you were doing and attending your residency program in Kuwait. I was not.
Unfortunately, yeah.
We just got to know each other virtually and by per se, because someone told me that you did a lot when you were in the residency program, and then we wanted to have you with us, shedding light on your project.
It's my pleasure.
It's time for a very quick round of questions, although we have mostly comments. I've been getting through it. Yeah, there are lots of people that are saying that they miss you. Ida is saying that types. I know that Cyanotype is also the work that you donated to the center, so that we have within our collection. Someone is saying best as the others ever, Miss Be Rising. Zara, your colleague during the residency in 2018, says, "You color of memory. I love the Cyanotype as much as the mini cat scrapbooks and reconstruction of home. Beautiful, Fatma." Someone is asking Hiba, I don't know if the pronunciation is correct. It would be so cool to hear the voice notes that they sent you, that the women sent you as a voice over, kind of overlapping, mimicking voices or rushing thoughts that go through your head. She was saying that she or he loves it. Maybe it could be a suggestion for you to overlap the voices.
Actually, that's what happened in the video. So the voices were overlapped in between in the transition from one to another. It was overlapped. I think maybe she sent that before showing the video. Yeah.
Farah Assad says very intense. Thank you for doing this and for sharing. Lots of thank you. Shukran. Great, useful conversation. Thank you, Mona El Tahir. And wonderful side talk, Ida. Miss you, Fatma. Always mesmerized by your work. Thanks, Fatma. Wish you all the best. Hope to see you soon. We have someone who raised her hand, Fadi.
Hello.
Hello, Fadi.
Oh. Hi, Fadi.
Really glad I could join this. I have a quick question for Fatma. What is your process during a blockage of thinking or creativity or whatever is it called? Because after the lockdown and losing jobs and stuff, everything is turned upside down. The normal interactions that I have been going through is not there anymore. So it's kind of overwhelming in terms of the blockage itself. So would you please share any helpful tips or anything. Thank you.
Thank you, Fadi.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Fadi. I'm a big fan of Fadi and his photography, and it happens. It happened to everyone. And from my side, what helped me is sharing what I'm doing with others, or doing something with someone. That really helped me a lot. Like when we came up with the list, me and Agnes. It was a very simple thing, and but feeling the feeling of collaboration really helps me when I have an artist block.
Thank you, Fatma.
Thank you, Fadi. Thank you.
There's another comment by Vibe saying, personally think that we should embrace the art blocks that seem to come and go. Yes, I think it's part of the process as well. We can't be obviously all the time constantly producing and churning out ideas over and over. I think that sometimes we need some break, and when the time comes, like the blockade that we had during lockdown, maybe we can just accept it for what it is, and then letting go and pass by. And
it's good to have a break from time to time. It's
yeah, all the artists that were before you during this talk series said the same. So the lockdown in the beginning was like, oh, such a much weighted time, because they were craving for a break, to slow down a tiny bit the pace, and then dedicating themselves to unfinished projects, or starting just to reset themselves, reframe also their new selves. That was awesome, Fatma. Thank you so much for sharing this huge bulk of work of yours that you've done in tiny bit more than a year. And I'm going to invite all of you to join us on September the 8th. We're going to have the third talk of the second season with Amani Al-Tuwaini from Kuwait. And September 22nd, we're going to have the last one with Ahmed Mukim from Kuwait as well. In the meantime, for other events and talks hosted by the Sheikh Abdullah Al Cultural Center, just follow our Instagram, ask KW. Fatma, how can people get in touch with you?
Through Instagram, my Instagram account. It's Fatma Abodoma. So it's yeah. I think I'm tagged on the post of the center.
Right here, so everybody has it. That's the best way how to get in touch with people. Thank you so much, everyone, for your undivided attention, and stay even a tiny bit longer than the time that's normally due during our Zoom talks. And I really hope to see you in person, meet you finally in person for the first time, and why not, to keep collaborating for future projects.
Me too. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Bye.